Micah, hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
Hello.
Hey,
I
Naomi.
don't know if we've actually met each other before, have we?
I think we've met like a bunch of times in like kind of
Oh,
overwhelming contexts. We've
okay.
like we've shared space many times.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for telling me that. And it's nice to have a not overwhelming, or hopefully not overwhelming context to actually have a conversation. It's really good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see
Yeah,
you.
yeah. And Micah is a dear old friend of mine. And we've known each other like 25 years or something.
Whoa, yeah, I think so.
Mm,
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
18.
Yeah. I met you before I met Nomi, even.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to
Cool.
read your bio to orient people to who you are. Mica Amichai, they, them, is a Mizrachi ashkenazi queer, non-binary, neurodivergent Jewish person living in the Bay Area. They are deeply connected to the earth and love gardening, playing with their dogs, birdwatching with friends, and getting far away from roads and electricity. They work hard to infuse urban planning with social justice. Follow them on Instagram at Mica, Mica underscore Amichai, Amichai. Welcome.
Thanks. That's me.
Welcome. We are so grateful for your contribution to the Indwelling Dreams of Olam Haba planner and really love the story about the tapuz, the oranges, and that association with Tamuz. And I'm really excited to hear your perspective on the piece that you wrote or anything that you want to share about your process or about Tamuz in general.
Mm. Yeah, I just read through it today after not really looking at it for quite a while. And I was like, yes, I still feel this.
Oh,
Which is always
good.
which is always nice. Sometimes I write things and then later I'm like, that's not where I'm at all.
Totally.
Um, yeah, I've like kind of for like a very long time, I think, been exploring themes of the like ongoing creation. And I was really working to express how that takes both like grieving the past and holding potential for the future.
Mm,
And like both of those being like kind of encapsulated in a globe or an orange.
yeah. Will you say more about that for our listeners who might not have read the piece?
Mm. Yeah, so I wrote that Tamuz always reminded me of, I always really liked the word tapuz. There's something just like, it feels good in my mouth.
Mm.
And so do oranges. And tapuz means orange. So I wrote about oranges beginning their growth as oranges from flower to orange in this month.
Mm.
And how many of the like little green oranges need to get dropped in order to create the opportunity for the other ones to reach maturity.
Mm-hmm.
And I always also really love that oranges taste like summer, but they're ripe in the winter. So I was kind of like exploring this like, okay, it's summer. It's like I find it very easy to like kind of get carried away with just like, oh, I'm just like so happy and joyful and social and like not taking things seriously. Sometimes in the summer feels like very light.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of like bringing both to all seasons. So like oranges in winter, storing some of that joy and lightness for the winter. And then also the reminder in the summer that even if we feel very joyful and light, that there's always grief and pain and stuff that's existing at the same time. And I like all the
Yeah.
things together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very Jewish.
Yes, you are. I always brag to people that you're my rabbinical school dropout friend, which I actually think is more Jewish than even becoming a rabbi somehow.
Can we hear that story? I'm so curious.
The
Are you
rabbinical
open to
school
sharing?
dropout story?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I don't exactly remember why I went to rabbinical school. Other than just like loving studying Judaism. So I like studied in Jerusalem at Pardes for a year, and I was like, I don't want to stop this. I love this. And I wanted to like do spiritual counseling and like in particular in prisons or like in drug rehabs.
Mhm.
And that was kind of the goal that I went into rabbinical school with.
Yeah.
And then I was there and it was all like it's like was really geared for like being a pulpit rabbi, and I was just like, I don't want to do that. I don't know if what I want to do is possible, and also I don't really feel good here, so I left.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Good for you.
me too. And I left twice actually, because I went to one school and then transferred to another, and then I was like, okay, now I really know. No.
Right on. Yeah, we were just talking about Tammuz as this time of like that juxtaposition of the grief and the joy and also the uncertainty. It's an interesting month because it doesn't really have holidays other than the 17th of Tammuz, which I'd never even heard of before we started doing our planner, and like really attuning to dates in that way. So yeah, I appreciate learning about Tammuz from you. And I love the orange metaphor. That's really helpful in thinking about that, like preparing and holding the joy and moving that forward, and also the loss and the sacrifice piece. Yeah.
Yeah, Tamuz
Michael,
is like kind of it's like and living in the Gregorian calendar, it's very easy to like not even think about Tamuz.
Mm-hmm.
Micah, I would love to hear more about if you feel moved to share some things about your experience with Jewishness growing up.
Yeah, sure. My dad's from Iran and then grew up mostly in Israel. And I grew up in like a very like mizrachi community in LA. So Israel and like being Israeli and like that was kind of like pretty central to half of the Jewish identity that I grew up in. And in particular, it was like Israeli to me really meant like mizrachi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The community in LA was like the Israelis were all the Mizrahim. And then and my mom's Ashkenazi, and I went to Jewish day school, and then that was more like Ashkenazi. Um, they kind of actually worked really quite beautifully together because the home base Mizrahi Jewish identity was more just like celebrating holidays together and like singing songs together and like picnics and beach time. And the Ashkenazi side was more like learned and like studying and structured, which felt actually less joyful, but I think I actually really got a lot out of that. I think that the structure that Judaism provided was really useful for me growing up. Even just like I remember as a kid, I got my little siddur at school and I'd like wake up and like open it and say the Shema. Like just like took on some of these like daily habits that like were like vital for my well-being as a child.
I'm curious about, I've heard you speak a bit about like going back to Israel, Palestine, and your family's relationship with that place, or do you want to share anything else about that?
It's a big one. It's so complicated. Yeah. I mean, my dad left Israel for reasons. He was like, I don't have opportunity here. He didn't have an education, and like structurally in society for Mizrahim, there's just not a lot of opportunity. And so he left. But he's still like so committed to Israel, and that's created a lot of dissonance because I've been like very staunchly anti-Zionist since I was very young, like 18 and going to Evergreen. I was like very involved in anti-Zionist work and wore a keffiyeh to graduation and went to work with ISM, and that created like a big rift. But it actually didn't create the rift. I felt the rift before that. Growing up
Right.
in my Israeli family and like hearing people say racist things like hurt me so badly. So that rift was already there. It was just I was carrying it, but then that rift was something that was like more, shared, I guess. Once I got more involved, and that's still there. Like I don't have a lot of relationship with my Israeli family.
Wow. So was it going to Evergreen that gave you language or ways to think about it that validated what you'd already felt then, or?
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
exactly.
Hmm.
Is
Exactly.
that how we met? Did we meet through Coprid or Simona Sharoni?
Yeah, I think I was like coordinating the JCC at Evergreen, and Simona, I'd like meet with her regularly to like talk about
Yeah,
like making the JCC involved with like anti-Zionist work. And yeah, I think you were
Hmm.
involved with both at Evergreen, so that
Hmm.
yeah.
that intersection is how we met.
Hmm.
Simona Sharoni, for people who are listening, is Israeli anti-Zionist activist, one of the people who started Women in Black, and has done a lot of work actually globally in South Africa and Northern Ireland and in Israel Palestine around conflict.
I
Hmm.
saw her in Montreal, and she was speaking about Israel-Palestine stuff like at Concordia
Mm,
University, and
Hmm.
it was really very sweet because Simona was one of my like main mentors at Evergreen. And while I
me
Hmm.
was
too.
at grad school in Montreal, I had my mentor there. His name was Norma, and it turned out they were friends. Like they're both doing like Israel-Palestine work in like very different ways.
Hmm.
And I've been
Mm,
really, I'm not doing this right now, but I was like very interested in like urban planning and
Hmm.
Palestine and like just how that was
Hmm.
kind of what initially got me into exploring urban planning, like seeing how conflict and power dynamics are like take a physical
Hmm.
form, and that's so
Hmm.
blatant in Palestine. And so my mentor Norma is Palestinian and is an urban planner, and it was really cool to talk to them both about that at the same time.
Wow, so interesting. So that's what you went to school for, but then you said that's not what you ended up doing, or?
Oh, I work in urban planning, but I don't
Oh,
really
you do.
engage
Oh,
with Palestine anymore. Yeah.
I see. I see.
do,
Can I
do
ask? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, do you want to say I think what you do is really interesting. Do you want to share a little bit about what you're working on now?
Sure. I work for the Clinton Department of Transportation, like,
Hmm.
and my two main projects are like coordinating the Safe Streets Initiative, which is like
Hmm.
really focused on eliminating or at least reducing severe and fatal crashes, and in particular prioritizing eliminating crash disparities because three times the number of Black people get killed by crashes as white people in Oakland and nationwide as well. So we
Wow.
do a lot of like analysis of like roadway conditions in different parts of town and prioritize improvements in underserved areas. So that's one project.
Mm.
Then the other project is really fun. The other one is coordinating a street mural program and working with local artists to like help with community engagement to paint murals on the streets and on utility boxes. So that's awesome.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's amazing.
I'm very lucky.
Thank you for doing that because everyone benefits from the amazing art that is in the public.
There's amazing people and artists in Oakland. Like I've just been living here a very short time and I'm just like
Hmm.
so inspired and blown away by people here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm remembering actually, I mean, I haven't lived in the Bay Area for like 6 years now, or maybe almost 7 years. But I'm remembering it was like a Palestinian solidarity mural with all these trees that was like, I think it was near is it the Parkway Theater
I
in
saw that
Oakland?
mural recently. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, and there's like I think I ended up getting Lisa a t-shirt that has like some of that imagery on it. And
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, I love that mural.
How long were
Sorry.
you here?
Like 9 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from I think 2007 to 2016.
Whoa. So it's a home. It's your home.
Yeah, 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 it was. It was a good home. Yeah. And there's a cool thing with that mural too, where it was like, go to this website to listen to these stories. And so you could like hear the stories of the people that made the designs. And yeah, I loved it.
That's the same as our Olympia Rafa Sister City mural here. That
Yeah.
each leaf is done by a different organization and different artist, and you can listen to the stories.
I didn't know that part. I love that mural.
Oh
That's one of my favorite
yeah,
murals. Oh,
yeah.
cool. Hmm.
Yeah, there's a whole website. Yeah, you can listen to. There's I don't know, like 50 or something.
Wow, cool. Well, I wanted to, this is kind of a backtrack, but I'm curious. I was really interested in what you said about kind of the two sides of your Jewish upbringing, and one side being more like home and song and celebration, and the other side being more like learning and study and structure. And that was just really interesting. And I'm curious, yeah, just to if there's other things that you might want to share about being Ashkenazi and Mizrahi and what that has been like for you.
Yeah. Well, culturally, they're like very different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think like, yeah, not like necessarily about like being Jewish, but like growing up in like two cultures is just like
Mm-hmm.
a whole thing in itself. And it's been cool to connect with mixed race people who are like, yeah, I grew up really confused all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think also, well, my dad is not very educated, and a lot of his friends aren't very educated. And I was kind of a snob about that as a kid, which, like, thinking back on, I feel kind of bad about it. But I was a kid. I just, like,
Mm-hmm.
made jokes that I thought were dumb all the time. So I feel like,
Well, dad jokes, dad jokes in any culture.
yeah.
And did they meet each other in the US, your mom and dad?
They met in Montreal. My mom grew up in Montreal,
Oh,
and
okay.
my dad initially moved to Montreal to work. Like he had like a connection with a factory there that he got a visa to work at. That's where they met.
Cool.
Yeah. And
Was
like
being Jewish.
also well, like Ashkenazi Montreal culture is also kind of different from like LA culture that I grew up in. And like especially being neurodivergent, I was just like trying to like understand it all together and just like felt like not very much part of either. Partly because of being both, but also partly because like Montreal Jews are like a very specific context of like Ashkenazi Jews with a different experience than like LA.
Interesting.
What were some of the differences?
Well, Canadian Jews are more conservative and also honestly a little bit less focused on money than LA Jews. Like the LA Jewish context that I grew up in was like focused on money in a way that like neither side of my family was. At least not until living in LA for a while and adopting that approach to life. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. That sounds alienating.
Yeah. I had like amazing rabbis in my high school. I went to Jewish high school and like I think actually really part of why I like loved Judaism and went to rabbinical school was because of the teachers that I had in high school who like introduced me to like meditation and interpretive dance and like this like very creative explorative approach to discovering Judaism and ourselves that like really helped shape me.
That's so cool.
That was cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't experience anything like that growing up around Jewishness. It was kind of dry. Yeah, yeah. I love that interpretive dance as a way into your own Judaism. That's so cool.
Yeah, that really
Like,
stands out. I remember this rabbi, like super like creative hippie rabbi, that was like, I'm not gonna do a drash, I'm gonna do an interpretive dance. And everybody else afterwards was like, what was that? And I was like, I understood every second, every millisecond of that. I understood it deep within me.
Oh, yes.
oh my God, I love that. Yeah, I just have so many questions, but I'm just getting to know you through this. So I'm like, I want to know everything about you and your experiences. But and so feel free to tell me you don't want to tell me
No,
things.
me,
But
I was just thinking earlier about your mom. Like, did you know that
oh,
I sang in the choir in Olympia with your mom? And
you
it's like
did.
yeah, I really loved her. It's like really sweet to get to think about her and have that connection with you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me that. And that makes me feel like she's here with us in this
She was
conversation.
such a beautiful person. Like, yeah.
Yes, yes, she was.
Mhm.
Oh, do you have any specific stories you would want to share with me?
Oh, I don't remember anything specific from the chorus. I remember more because I also volunteered with Books 3 Bars or Books to Prisoners
Hmm.
in your mom's basement. So I
Hmm.
remember more like specific stories of her coming down and like helping with the silk screening and like being
Oh.
like so involved and encouraging with that work. Yeah, the chorus I more remember her presence
Uh-huh, uh-huh. She
and her
loved
voice.
the choir. Oh, yeah.
It's so
Oh.
funny because I also volunteered with Books for Prisoners, and I don't think I totally put it together. It was in Melinda's basement. I
Did
think,
you go at that
yeah,
location?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, totally. But I don't think I had been friends with her at that time. Like, it wasn't until later.
But didn't you
Yeah,
come
but
there for voice lessons when I was living with maybe
no,
you
I
did Books of
didn't.
Prisoners
No,
before we did voice lessons there.
yeah, no, we didn't. We did voice lessons there many years later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that was so amazing. It was after she divorced my dad and like bought her own house and then was like, what do I want to do? I want to be involved with the community. How do I want to be involved? And it was like, oh, I will offer this space for Books to Prisoners for like $65 a month. And like that was such a part of her like home community for years and years. And I just keep meeting people that knew her from that, which is just so special. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning her and for loving her. She is very lovable. Yeah. Well, I was wanting to ask you, but now I don't remember actually. Oh yeah. I think I'm just curious about like being neurodivergent and engaging with Jewishness and Jewish text and stuff. And just like when you said that the interpretive dance like really spoke to you, I'm just like, oh, that's so cool. I'm so glad that you had that experience. And I'm just curious what it was like for you. And I know I don't know your story or, the specifics of your neurodivergence, but I feel like, I'm about to possibly start working with a dyslexic bat mitzvah student. And I'm like, oh, Judaism is just so text heavy and just curious about other ways of working with people or other ways of relating to it. So anything you would want to share around that, I'm curious.
Honestly, like when I started studying Talmud and text, I was like, this is how I think. Like,
Mm.
like there's something very neurodivergent about Talmud because it's so
Mhm.
Totally,
nonlinear, so associative. Time
totally,
doesn't matter. Like that's how I function in the world. I'm like,
totally,
what is time and space?
totally.
I don't know. I'm in my own dimension. So, like getting to like join an interdimensional conversation just like worked so well for me.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel like that's why
Yeah.
we're such good friends.
Mm. Mm.
Totally, totally just like float away together.
We're just like, wow, this thing that nobody else is thinking about this way.
Mm.
Yes, and that opportunity for like making connections that I feel like in like very linear thinking, it's like I don't know if that connection is allowed, but like in
Right.
in Jewish study, it's like all connections are encouraged, and that's how my brain
Yeah.
works. I'm just like constantly connecting things. That's just what it's doing right now, all the time.
Yeah. Fuck
Well,
yeah.
it's so interesting because I have felt like as a neurodivergent person, like have felt like that doesn't feel accessible to me, like the Talmud. But for me, I think a lot of it is a like, well, I didn't learn Hebrew as a kid and I don't know.
Mhm.
So like there's a language barrier there for
Mhm.
me. But then whenever there's like an interpretation of the text and it's just like free, like Svara, for example, is very difficult for me because it's like text
Mhm.
study of the Hebrew. But then
Mhm.
when there's
Mhm.
like a space where it's like there's the interpretation and then you can just like have a conversation. I mean, I feel like Micah, like the way that we've connected, like that we just if there's that if there's a free place to like talk about mystical things and Jewish magical things, like we can go there so easily together. And so it's really like validating for me to hear you say that about Talmud, because I'm like, oh, it has nothing to do with the Talmud. It's like a language thing, and it's like actually it does jive with my way of thinking too.
Yeah, you totally like the way that you think and the way that you like make connections with your own experience, I feel like is exactly what the Talmud is doing. So that's too bad that the way that it is taught and discussed is like actually like very heady and inaccessible a lot of the time. I resonate with that too. I think have like a little bit more of a like, I'm just gonna do it my own way approach, even if it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah, I've had that experience with you so many times. You're just like, well, this is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm thinking about it, and it's so validating.
That's so important, and that's really good modeling for other people.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate that. It doesn't necessarily win fans or friends, but it makes me happy.
Well, it won me as a friend. I'm like, you're one of my favorite thinkers.
Like, I've heard you say that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really
I just
sweet.
like love your perspective and orientation, and like you're able to pinpoint things and bring a perspective that is new and that I haven't heard before, and that helps illuminate something within myself.
Helps illuminate something within yourself? What do you mean?
Like that I'm like, oh,
illuminate?
Like, I don't know what the word that I'm looking for.
Sorry, no, I think we both heard eliminate, but I think you said illuminate.
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 Yes. Illuminate. Okay. You're like, wow, you're just eliminating toxic elimination.
I love that. Illuminating some things and eliminating other things.
Yes.
Well,
we have a little bit more time, and we'd love to hear from you of any visions of the world to come that you would like to share.
Visions of the world to come.
Or dreams of the world to come.
I think part of my like practice in the world is to like live in my own world that I like better. And that's part of my like vision of the world to come, of like even like in relationships with each other and with animals and the earth, and like seeing that as all part of the same relationship. It's just like what I'm up to in my head when I'm like in the world is kind of like equalizing everything into like one whole interconnection. That's a lot of my vision, is just a lot of like ongoing and ever-present care for ourselves and each other. And then when there's so much space for that, then there's no space left for anything that's not that.
Yeah.
Right now it just feels out of whack, you know? It's out of whack. Yeah. I know that's a very simplistic way of putting it.
I love it.
But thank you for carrying that vision, because when you say that, I'm like, oh, well, I hear you that that's like your own world in your head, but also that is the world that we live in, and there are a lot of obstacles to that perception, but it is the reality, actually.
Amen. Yes, it is. Yeah, it feels not that simple to like make all the like good choices in the systems that we live in. So I think that also part of my like vision for the world to come, like, and I wrote about this a little bit in my piece of like it not being perfect, and like allowing a lot of space for like imperfection and mistakes and brokenness and like falling down and getting up. And that's like a really big piece of the world to come for me. It's not like an idea of like everything is going to be like exactly perfect all the time. It's like whatever is can be supported.
Yeah. Amen. Is there anything else that you want to say to us or to people that might be listening about anything we've talked about or anything we haven't gotten to?
Well, I don't know who the listeners are or anything, but I just started studying Sefer Yetzirah, and I'm loving it. And I'm like putting into the universe that I want more queer mysticism, queer
Yes.
Jewish mysticism. So yeah,
Mm.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yes, please. Let me know if you're. I actually was talking with Karina Dross the other day about, I don't know if you know them, but they're another previous contributor to the planner, and they're an astrologer and an artist, and they're also studying Sefer Yetzirah, and we talked about having like a study group. So it kind of seems like
Ooh.
things might be already like there's lots of people that are desiring that. So maybe I'll try to connect all the people I've been talking to about doing that
Ooh.
together.
Yeah, I want to do
Yes.
that.
And I'd love for that to, I don't know if this is what's already happening, maybe it is. I'd love for like as part of that to do some like more like concrete visualization of the world to come. Like I love that you asked me what my image for like the future and the world to come is, and I need help. I feel like doing that like visioning together and like really holding it together as part of like a
Mhm.
mystical study and practice would be so powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, such a
Yes.
good idea. Because the Sefer
Ugh.
Yetzirah is about the building blocks of the world, like
Mhm.
how the world was formed. So, how do we form the world to come as we're
Mhm.
studying the original form?
You know, it's so amazing too. I feel like there's so many things around like the structures that have been holding my Jewishness for the last number of years that are kind of crumbling. I mean, including this project, like not that it's crumbling, but that we're coming to completion. We won't be doing the planner again. We only have 3 more episodes of the podcast and then we're ending. And so that feels very Tamuz of like, okay, some things are falling away. And what is this next piece? It sounds like there's like some kind of focus group type work around Jewish queer mysticism and calling in the world to come. That's like the next piece. That's
Yay.
promising.
Mhm.
That's the orange that we can look forward to in the winter.
Do you see my cat is like clawing at my
Yes.
A
necklace?
little paw. That's really sweet.
So sweet. Hi, Bori.
Hi, Puri.
Oh my God. Oh, so
Aw,
sweet.
that's such a like affirming gesture.
Like when we're talking about all this stuff.
She's like, yes, the world to come. Yes, I'm there for it.
I feel paranoid about my shirt. Okay, good. Because it
Why?
says white people's work and it has people smashing white supremacy. But when you only see the top, all it says is white supremacy.
That's like I have one of those J-Fred shirts that says turfs are trafe, and I love it so much, but I like always wear some kind of suspender. Like right now I have a picture of my dog on me.
That's
But like
amazing.
but like when I wear it with how I wear it, you only see turfs. And I'm like, well, that can't be worn in public. Like,
That's really funny. Now I'm looking at my shirt. I'm actually wearing kind of an appropriate shirt. It says
yeah.
the future is crystal queer.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, love it. Yeah, the future is crystal queer.
Well, Micah, it has been lovely to talk with you, and we're excited to put this together and share it with the world.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me and for all the work that you two do. Like you're such like gadols of our generation, and it's been really beautiful to like get to see your both of your life's work like as we've gotten older in community. It's really special, and I'm really honored to be here and part of it.
Thank you. Thanks for making the time, and I look forward to continuing to get to know you.
Likewise.